Hey, everybody. Casey here with Chick Chat Collective. I am super excited. I have Dr. Lisa Folden here, and she is a super inspiration to so many. She is a body health coach, a body image coach. We were just chatting a bit before we started recording, and just the little things we were already talking about. We both, as women, have experienced certain feelings, certain thoughts that could run through our minds. And I'm sure you, as being a coach, hear these kinds of things all the time from women and your clients. And we just want to get real about it because I know that, if we're having these feelings and thoughts, there's probably so many other women having these feelings and thoughts. And it's time we just break out of this mess, you
Yeah.
know? And so I want to hand it over to you, Lisa. First, if you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and kind of how you got into this awesome space and you've created such an amazing following and amazing business. So we just want to hear all about it.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you for having me. First of all, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I never turn down a chance to talk about this stuff because the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, and the more people are aware, and the more people can walk away from like all this toxicity around our bodies and dieting and all that stuff. So,
Yes.
as you said, my name is Dr. Lisa Folden. I am a licensed physical therapist and I am an NASM certified health coach. And what I chose to do with that education and those certifications is create a private practice. I'm located in Charlotte, and my practice is called Healthy Fit Physical Therapy and Wellness Consultants. And what I do is offer weight inclusive physical therapy, which means I work with people in all size bodies. I make sure that my space is accommodating to people in all size bodies, and my equipment can accommodate people in all size bodies to restore some integrity.
Yeah.
People don't realize this, but when people live in large bodies, they are often mistreated in the medical field. So I try to undo that. And then I offer anti-diet health and body image coaching in addition to in my business. And what that looks like is talking mostly with women, even though men have body image stuff that they don't talk about as
Yeah.
often. But I spend a lot of time mostly with women, helping them make peace with their bodies, learn to respect and love their bodies, or at least be kind, to their bodies.
Yeah.
And also people who are trying to improve their health, I help them do that outside of the confines of toxic diet culture. So I've been a PT for almost 16 years and I love it. This niche, as far as working with people in large bodies, and also I work with people in recovery from eating disorders, that has been sort of brewing for the last year or so. And I really enjoy sort of that pocket of therapy, helping people recover safely and improve their relationship with their bodies. So it was because of my own personal experiences. We talked earlier. I also had 3 kids within 4 years,
Yeah.
back to back to back. My body changed a lot. And then the funny thing is, it changed more after I was done having kids. And
Mhm.
that's what freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I went through that whole process that we go through of trying to change and manipulate things and cut back on calories and over exercise. And I realized it wasn't sustainable, and I had to find a new way. And so it really took like getting out into the literature and finding other people who had the same experience. So it started with the book Health at Every Size by Dr. Lindo Bacon, and that just kind of like opened my mind to this thought that like maybe what I've learned my whole life about health and fitness and stuff is not true. And
Yeah.
so that's how I became educated on diet culture, and that became like my new focus. Everybody needs to know what toxic diet culture is, and
Yes.
everybody needs to try to walk away from it so we can have better relationships with ourselves. So,
Okay, so number one, I love that. I've never heard of that book, but Health at Every Size, is that what it's called? Health at
yes.
Every Size. Okay, number
Mm-hmm.
one, how amazing, because in this culture, if you're not like skinny and ripped with abs and your muscles are, toned and defined, like you're not a healthy person, is what
Right.
we've been told. And same, right? Like as a mom in my late 30s, Like, our bodies
Mhm.
change. I genetically come from, like, small people, so
Mhm.
I got made fun of in school for being skinny, people saying I was anorexic, even though I wasn't. I've always eaten
Yeah.
like a straight up man, you know? But so on the flip side of that, though, you get older and your metabolism slows down. You have these
Absolutely.
kids,
Mhm.
and I'm not that size or that person anymore, but it was, like, so, like, ingrained in my head of, like,
It was your identity.
it
Yeah.
was my
Mhm.
identity. Yeah, and so now
Mhm.
I'm, like, finding a new identity and trying to be comfortable and secure with it, but
Yeah.
I just love that. I need to read that book because it's true. It's just like we're not all built the same. We're just not,
No.
and just
No.
because some people are this size or not, you can still, if you're a healthy person and you're doing healthy things and eating healthy foods, you're healthy, you know?
Mhm. Right.
And can you explain a little bit about this toxic diet culture? Like, kind of just go into a little bit because maybe some of these listeners are in that right
Mhm.
now, or and they're
Yeah.
trying to get themselves out of it. Any insight on that?
Oh, absolutely. So toxic diet culture is really it's this entity. It's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry and entity that essentially profits off of our dislike for our bodies. So it's diet programs, it's diet foods, it's diet medication that people are getting prescribed by their physicians. Whole
Crazy,
nother
right?
conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Follow the money.
It's
Yeah.
all of the things that line the pockets of people who profit off of us hating ourselves in some way. And so when you say, like, if you're not built a certain way or you don't have abs, or the funny thing about that is you can probably describe what some people would consider fit. And then I could probably describe what some people would consider fit. And there's going to be variations. And the reason for that is because there's no one true definition of it. And
Mm,
so there's imaginary carrot that we're all chasing. When I look back at photos of myself from 7 years ago, I'm like, oh, okay, I was really a nice size. I was cute. But in my mind at that time, I hated my body and I was trying to figure out how to make it better. And that is air quotes for a reason because there was never anything wrong with my body. So toxic diet culture is just this persistent, consistent belief that we need to be doing something to look better, thinner, healthier, stronger, fitter, whatever, when in reality that's not what we're supposed to be wasting our time doing.
yeah.
And when we talk about body types and you say, like, genetically what you come from, 85% of what our bodies look like, shape, size, weight, is controlled by genetics. We only have about 15% control when we talk about like what we eat and how we move. And for some people they get more control if they get surgical procedures. I don't endorse that, but I believe in body autonomy. So do whatever you think is going to make you feel better. But really, genetics play a huge role into what our bodies look like and other things outside of our control, environment, like all of those things play into the size and shape and weight of our bodies. But we have been told by diet culture, by diet companies, that we have full control. This is everything that happens to you and your health and body is because of a decision you made. And that's just not true. It's
Right.
just not true. There's so many things outside of our control. And yeah, we can eat healthy foods and move, but the reality is everybody, you and I can eat the exact same thing every day and work out, the same
Yeah.
way every day, and we will still look completely different. And what I want people to understand is that is okay. As a matter of fact, that is good. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Body diversity is beautiful and it's important. I need people to understand that people in large bodies, fat people, have existed since the beginning of time. Since the
Mhm.
beginning of time. Even when, we didn't have all this processed food and McDonald's, whatever, fat people still existed and they're supposed to exist. And
Yes.
for whatever reason, diet culture says no, everybody should be trying to get to this middle, this thin, not too big, right here, perfect it doesn't exist. It's imaginary, it's toxic, it's counterproductive to real health, and it ruins our relationship with our bodies because we are always seen as less than and
Yeah.
like we need to be working towards something different. So
And when does that stop? When is it like when do you
never.
get to the magical part where you're like, my body's perfect. Now I can chill out, now I
Casey,
can feel good about myself.
I have talked to 70-year-old women who are still dieting.
Goodness gracious. That makes
So
my
think about that. Mine too, right? So you're in your late 30s. I'm 41. I figured this out a couple years ago, and I still think like, damn, that was like 20 plus years of my life. I was like, eh. And so I couldn't imagine the mental and emotional turmoil of still trying to lose weight or maintain weight at 70 years old.
yeah,
Like, I want to just be hanging with my grandkids and just
loving
loving
life.
life. Like,
Yeah,
dieting? Really?
I know.
But
And
that's
it's
the
almost
world we live in.
it is, and it's almost like you wonder, have they just been doing it for so long that it's just their normal, right? Maybe they've been doing it since they were in their 20s or 30s or after they had their last baby and trying to get that
Yeah.
figure back, and that's another thing I cannot stand in this
Snap
society.
back.
Oh my gosh, and, like,
Yeah.
I tried that after my first baby, C-section baby, right? You can't move for 6 weeks, da 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 da, and then after the second one, I was just like, "Meh," right? I'm giving that there's too much, right? We're breastfeeding, we're taking care of a newborn, we're not getting any sleep, but make sure your body bounces back because you got to post those pictures on social media and you got to show everyone how quickly you bounced back after that. And I'm just like, I cannot like get in on this. I just
It's
cannot
so
do
stupid.
it.
It's so stupid. And let me just be clear. When I'm like dogging diet culture and dogging this, I'm not dogging like the person. I have compassion for the person that's in that space
Right.
because I lived there. And I definitely was the person trying to snap back from all three kids.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my oldest is about to be 12, my middle child is 10, and my son is 8.
Mm.
I didn't grasp this concept until my son was maybe 4. So for
Yeah.
each pregnancy, yeah, I was like documenting the before and afters and the snapback. And it was very important to me to get to my pre-pregnancy weight. So I'm not knocking anybody if that is where you still are, because I
Right.
have compassion for that, because it's really freaking hard. Everything around us, from social media, from our doctors, from our family, from our community, from magazine covers, from TV, everything tells us that thinner is better. Everything. So
Yes.
for you to not think that, you're a unicorn, right? Like, I'm a
Yeah.
unicorn now, because I know that's not the case. But most people see being smaller as better, healthier, happier, and being larger as less healthy, less happy, unworthy, bad. So it's not surprising that so many people live there, but I'm with you 100%. I hate this idea of snapping back when we should be focused on, getting back to ourselves emotionally and spiritually, and connecting with our children and managing this new life and
Yeah.
enjoying these moments, that only last so long.
So
We're
long.
like looking in the mirror at our stomachs and trying to like figure out how and when it's going to go back to normal, whatever that even
Right.
means. So
And,
I hate that theory.
which it may not. And it's like you're already mentally like so overloaded and overwhelmed. At least
Hmm.
I was and still am,
Yeah.
right? My youngest is 7 months and I'm getting married in November. And
Oh, congratulations.
thank you.
Mhm.
But I just had our engagement session for photos, and I catch myself. The photographer's like, these are amazing, and of course he's saying that because he's just nice and he's a photographer, but
Yeah.
I think he genuinely meant it too. And I'm like, oh, can you like can you not get any of me from the side because I'm wearing like a tighter white dress, and he's
Mhm.
like, "No one like, what are you talking about?" And it's like, I'm like, "Well, or can you like edit it? Like, can you make it look like where I don't have, I just
Mhm.
have so I basically had 3 surgeries with all 3 kids, and so if you've had a C-section, you have that little shelf. Yeah,
Yes, you
they don't
do.
tell you about that, right? They don't tell
No, they don't.
you, and
They don't.
after Isla, the shelf went away. The doctors
Mm.
told me it possibly could or couldn't. That one did, but I also went through something really crazy and didn't eat for a long time, so I think it went
Mm.
because of that, and I am an eater,
Yeah.
always have been. I've, like, prided myself on how much I can eat, I love eating. I love it all, and the shelf did not go away after my second baby, and then I got pregnant,
Mhm.
like, right before he turned 1, I got pregnant again, and I'm 7 months postpartum, and I've got that shelf, you know, and in my
Mhm.
head, I'm like, "So do I, like, kill myself to make sure that this is all gone by the wedding, and
Mhm.
my fiance is just like, Casey, like he is just he loves my body because it birthed two of his sons,
Right.
and our daughter. And it's just, why can't we see that? Why is it, I should be
Mhm.
so proud. We should be so proud and thankful to our bodies for these amazing things that they've done and made it through.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm just like, it's like I'm like mad at it that it's got that shelf and and
Because it did all that work, but it doesn't look perfect. It's like,
yeah.
what? But sometimes it takes you saying it out loud to yourself so that you can realize how off base you really are. Like
Yeah.
that can't be the focus. But here's the reality, and we don't dig into this a lot, but I say diet culture because it's encouraging all this, but really these unrealistic body standards come from like racism and the patriarchy, and so it's this is not something that's just existed in our lifetime, right? Goes back to our great 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 grandmothers,
It runs
where
deep.
the idea
Mhm.
is that women's bodies are ornaments to be stared upon. We are trophies to be on people's arms. We are to be admired. Like our beauty is our shining star, so it's about what we look like and how other people perceive us. And even though no one likes to really dig into that part of it or admit it, that's where it stems from, this idea that I need to look desirable. And it's bullshit. It's truly bullshit, because I like to refer, I don't even remember who to credit for this, but someone said this to me and it has stuck with me. I look at the body as a meat suit. Like, this is just my meat suit. It is just the thing carrying me around through the earth now.
Yeah.
I am a whole human spirit inside of me, my ideas, my thoughts. Even if I couldn't, because sometimes we move from like loving our bodies for what they look like to loving our bodies for what they can do. Even if I was bed bound, completely paralyzed, I would still hold value as a human because of my spirit, my heart, my soul, my mind. And that's really what this is about, getting outside of this meat suit and always being focused on it versus who we are internally. That is where our value really lies, how we make people feel. Nobody's gravestone is going to say she kept her body tight, she had a great 26-inch waist. Like, nobody gives a fuck about that. Like, that is
Yeah.
not what's important. It's
No.
about how you treat people, the legacy you leave behind, how you make people feel, what you do for others, how you inspire people. So the body literally has nothing to do with that, like nothing. So when we take the focus away from the body, we can lean into who we are as people, and we can work on being better people, because that's a goal, right?
Yes.
Versus like, let me see how small I can get my waist. Let me see how big I can get my butt. Let me, like,
Yeah.
ugh.
I know. Over it, right? I'm so
Over
over
it.
that. I have a flat booty, always have, and I'm just like tired of being like, yeah, how many squats do I have to do? I'm like, I hate squats. I don't want to do any squats.
Right.
0. That's how many I'm gonna do. Like,
I tell people you need to do enough squats to have strong butt muscles for being able to roll over and bridge in bed and maintain your mobility as you age. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Oh my
That's
gosh.
all.
I love it, and that just gave me goosebumps, by the way, just talking about it. Really is, these are like our shells, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're all different, and that's what makes the world interesting and beautiful, is
Mm-hmm.
the diversity in that. And so it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be embraced. And we see the same things on the magazine covers, though, and
All
starring
the
in
time.
movies, and it's like it's whenever that gets figured out, I feel like a lot more people will feel more secure, when they can see
Absolutely.
themselves in the people that are always highlighted and featured and
Yep.
focused on and considered beauty, or the standard of
Beautiful.
beauty.
Yep, representation matters, and expanding the idea of beauty is really important, because we live in these bodies, right? Even though they're not as significant as we put, out there, it is important to see people in large bodies, people, of different races, people of different ages, because when you don't see that, the unspoken message is only this is beautiful, only this is fit, only this is good. And if you don't match up, tough stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So you're right. We have to continue to expand that. And people are doing it. You know,
Yeah.
Lizzo is like my favorite because
I
she's
know.
like, I don't care what y'all think about me. I'm out here. She's gorgeous and talented and successful. You know, we just need
She's
more people like
brilliant.
that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
She is
Yeah, absolutely.
she is so I don't even know the word to use about her. Do you watch that show Hot Ones where
I
it's like
don't.
a hot wing challenge? Oh my, you have to watch that. It's my fiance's favorite show because he's a huge hot sauce buff. Like he loves hot.
Oh,
Well, this
hilarious.
guy will interview celebrities while they
Hmm.
are eating chicken wings from like a rate 1 of hot sauce all the way up to like number 10.
I've
And
seen a clip on there.
okay,
now that you say it, yep, I've seen that. I've seen a clip
hers,
of it.
she has one. And
Uh-huh.
hers is so good and she is just brilliant. And she is just
Hmm.
like a super intelligent,
Hmm.
highly she's like on another level of human.
Yep.
You can kind
Yeah.
of sense that when you hear those kinds of people speak and like when you
Yeah.
just know they're like on another level of kind of the norm.
Yes.
I was like, I am so glad like this episode came on because I love her music, of course,
Right.
love what she represents, but to really the guy, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who's the host, he asks very, very good questions. Like he digs deep into their lives,
Yeah.
past, and they're always so surprised. The celebrities are like, wow, you really did your research, and they're really flattered. Um,
Yeah.
but they're caught off guard, and so it's cool to see also how they're answering with this super hot sauce in their mouth, some of them are
That part.
crying and, like, chugging water, and I just was like,
Yes.
"Dang, I love her even more." Everyone go watch that episode of Hot Ones.
I'm
It's
gonna check it out. She gives a good interview anywhere I've seen her. So, but yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
yeah, you'll love it. It's a great show. One thing I did wanna ask you is what is so with your coaching and just, being in this space for so long, and obviously you're very easy to talk to. I mean, I can just tell with how this is going. So I'm
Mhm.
sure, people talk to you about this stuff all the time, but if there was one thing that is the most common thing that you see or hear amongst women, I know you work with men too, but
Mhm.
just for the sake of focusing on the women, as far as like their body image issues or like how they see themselves, what's
Mhm.
like the most common thing that you hear or see with that?
So I would say there's two most common things. One, it's a stomach issue. Like women, for whatever reason, men can have stomachs, women cannot. Like that's the general rule.
Story of
So
my
it's
life.
it's usually stomach related, and sometimes, yep, it's from like a C-section mamas or just having had children or just life. And when we get to a certain age, metabolism slowing, hormones changing, cortisol increasing, which is belly fat, so stomachs. People are just in disgust with their stomachs. That's literally what I see, to the point where they are considering surgery. They're wearing those ridiculous waist trainers. If you take nothing else from this interview, no, waist trainers are trash and don't ever use them. um, but that's it. And then the other thing is like shape. We've been taught to believe, in waist trainers as another like culprit for this. We've been taught to believe that we can change the shape of our bodies. Right now, hourglass is really in, right? So sizable or smaller boobs, super thin waist, much wider hips and butt. Like that's the thing. And it's just so not true. Like you can't make your body be shaped a certain way. Again, outside of going to a surgeon and having it sculpted exactly as you wish. Again, not something I would encourage, but do you? But that's usually what women are complaining about. They want to be shaped a certain way naturally, just can't be, and they want to have like zero stomach. Like it's less even about abs right now, but it's about like not having visible fat on the stomach. And
Right.
I'm like, wow. It's like you realize like your body does not compute that, like, oh, this, I just wish this piece of skin was it. Like you can't spot reduce fat. So everything that you all hear when we talk about
Yeah.
toxic diet culture, there it's lies. So when you hear someone, a personal trainer, someone promoting a program, any of the big companies that put diets out, if they're saying get rid of belly fat, blast this, cellulite. If they're telling you that you can spot reduce fat in your body, and I don't care if they've got those cute computer images where you see fat cells and then they disappear, it's all lies.
Yeah.
It's all lies. There is no way humanly possible outside of surgery to go and remove fat from certain parts of the body and deposit it in other parts of the body, because that's
Right.
that's the thing. Like, can you take all this fat off my stomach and get it to my butt? No, we cannot do that if you're not undergoing
Not God.
surgery.
Yeah.
That is not how it works. Everybody, if even if you are losing weight, everybody loses weight in different places. First, you have zero control over that.
Yeah.
People gain weight in different places. You have zero control over that. So that is toxic diet culture, getting you to believe that you can do something very specific to your body. You cannot do it. So, but yeah, back to your original question, it's usually the stomach fat or the body shape as a whole that women are like stressing all about.
Yeah.
So,
And we were talking before we hit record, and I totally relate, because for me, it's the stomach. It just is,
mm-hmm.
right? I've always been like, felt like I've never, right, felt like it was flat enough. I mean, seriously, even
Never, and you never will.
never. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying this because it is a fact, but like in my 20s, I would do like runway modeling in LA. And so you have to
Mm.
be skinny mini to do that, right?
You
But even
do, yeah.
then, I remember, kind of like you said, looking back at those pictures, I remember even in those stages being like, I got to get skinnier. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
good enough. I
And
have to
that
get
industry,
skinnier.
that industry in itself is so toxic. But yeah, you're right.
It's
You've
so
never been happy with it. It's like never.
and and then so like we were talking, I just wanted to share this little thing because it's a very real and it was a very raw moment for me. But I was telling Lisa how my family and we went to the beach in April. It was Jesse, that's our baby. He's 7 months old now. He was 6 months then. And we took him to the beach for his first trip. And my mother-in-law came with us. And I'm wearing my one piece because I don't dare get in that bikini, right? Like, my
Hmm.
bikini bod's not ready. That's, what my brain is telling me. So I'm in my one piece and I am having so much fun with Isla, our daughter. I'm spinning her around like kind of like an airplane, right? We're going really fast. I have her arms and she's like flying.
Hmm.
And my mother-in-law captures these photos, and they're beautiful, and we're smiling, we're having so much fun, and it's like the sun and the ocean, you can just tell we're having this like such a connected moment, her and I.
Hmm.
But my first reaction was, ew, like look at me in that bathing suit. Like, ugh, like my butt looks flat and my stomach is too big, and you shouldn't even be wearing that one piece. Like, and I
Hmm.
almost didn't post the pictures. Like, and all my family lives pretty far. I have friends all over the world, really. And so,
Hmm.
posting things about my life and family is how everyone stays updated. And I almost was like, you're not posting those because you look so gross. Really, that's
Right.
what I was telling myself in my head. And then I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? No, like, enough is enough. Like, you
Hmm.
have had 3 kids. You have a baby. Like, your kids are happy and healthy, and you're happy and healthy, and, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing talking to yourself like this and criticizing? Like, do I think anyone who's looking at those pictures is going to think that? I mean, I hope not, but, like, do I even care?
That part, because anyone who would look at those pictures and think that is a very critical, not nice, for lack of a better term, human, and they have their own issues.
Right.
Everyone who is reasonably well adjusted and decent people are going to look at those pictures and see, what they really represent is a beautiful moment between a mother and a daughter, and people living and enjoying their lives, as opposed to obsessing over their bodies and refusing to engage in life because their bodies don't look right.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that photo for your daughter one day when you're not here is that that memory is going to be like a warm hug for her. And
Mhm.
she is going to respect you and love you even more. And it's going to remind and encourage her that her body is good enough in any state, in any state. So the really what you're doing, I know it was hard for you and like to get over your fear, but it was really a gift. It's a gift you're giving her and the world, because people need to see that.
Yeah.
And a part of when I coach with people, that's a part of what we do. It's normalizing normal bodies. You need to see people in bathing suits, living their best lives. You
Yeah.
need to see your own body. You need to just get used to that being the norm so that you stop idolizing this idea of perfection that you'll never really find. Maybe you see someone on social media and you think they're perfect. 99.9% of the time, they don't think they're perfect.
Right.
But idolizing these bodies that look one way, it doesn't serve any of us. So seeing normal bodies. So that, I'm very proud that you did that for yourself, for your daughter, and for anyone who looks at that photo.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
and it kind of just goes back to what we were saying, right? Like, when does it stop? I don't want to be in my 70s. I don't want to honestly be in my 40s
No.
worried about it. I want to be happy
Mhm.
inside my body. And it's so true, right? Like, we can't just spot something and be like, get smaller, get bigger, get whatever. Like,
Not how it works.
right, we are who we are. So, like, what is your best kind of your tip, or anything that you really help these women with embracing and accepting, and not just that, but like starting to love their bodies,
Mhm.
and know, like, these are incredible, these things that we have, right? But they are just
Okay.
the bodies. They are just the shell. They are not
Yep.
the
It's
person.
just one part of
Right.
us, right? So a few things. First, I like, I want everybody to know this and to make peace with this idea. And you can repeat it after me if you want to. My body is supposed to change. Like, that is just it. We get stuck in this idea of maybe we did have the body we wanted at one point, who knows? Or maybe we realized it later, like most of us, right?
Yeah.
We get stuck in this idea that, like, oh, this 12th grade or college, like, this is when it was perfect. We get stuck in this idea that our bodies are supposed to stay as they have been or
Yeah.
were. Your body is supposed to change. When children are born and they grow, first of all, when babies are little, we like fat, right? Fat is
Mhm.
all cute then, but when
Yeah.
you're an adult, somehow it's not cute anymore. Help me make sense of that.
Yeah.
As babies grow, they grow out of clothes. All right, it's time to go shopping, get new clothes. Teenagers, or middle school students, or K through, like, let's get new clothes. But when it comes to us as adults, oh God, I have to buy another size. Oh my God, I'm just not gonna do. I remember refusing to buy a bigger size and just squeezing my ass into stuff that didn't fit. How horrible does that make you feel? Right?
Yeah.
So again, going back to this idea and understanding that your body is supposed to change, and then treating it with the respect that it deserves as it changes, and not, demeaning it, talking bad about it, just putting it down because it's not what it used to be. So I really love for people to understand that. The other thing is, I love, and these are turned into affirmations, right? My body is supposed to change. The other one is, I am more than a body. So what we talked about, this is just a part of who we are. There's more to us than our bodies. Our bodies are probably the least interesting things about us.
Mhm.
There's so much more to our
So true.
experiences, the lives we've lived, the people that we are. Way, way more important and way more exciting than what our bodies look like. When you get those two things, it's much easier to develop a respectful relationship with your body. I tell people to treat their bodies like they treat their best friends. You don't let your best friend come in and start dogging herself out.
Yeah.
You're not going to listen to her say, oh my God, I'm too fat. I'm too this. You're going to be like, hey, stop.
Yeah. You're
You're
beautiful.
beautiful.
You're
There's
amazing.
nothing wrong with you. So you have to do that same thing for yourself. Maybe we don't have someone in our lives that'll do that for us. Some people live in very critical situations. I've worked with women who have critical partners,
Mhm.
who have critical family members, and they are just down in the dumps about their bodies. So you know what? You have to be your own best friend. You have to talk to yourself and bring yourself out of that, and get some support if you can, coaching, therapists, and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's really important when you recognize that, then you change the way you talk to yourself. You change the way you treat yourself. You change the way you let other people talk to you. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
um, and then you become able to, like, embrace yourself. And I start with neutrality, right? Just being neutral with my body and just respecting it, that I live in it and that it's carried me through things. If you're alive now, you made it through COVID. That's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah. Oh my
If you've
gosh.
carried children, you made it through that. Huge deal. So just respecting it for what it's done for you in your particular situation. And if we can get you to positivity where you do really love yourself, awesome. But there's nothing wrong with living in neutrality. There's nothing wrong with living there and being like, you know what? I may not look in the mirror and think I'm the hottest thing walking, but I respect myself, I care for myself, and I treat myself well. I'm happy with that. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? You go
Yeah.
wherever you need to go, but you have options.
And that is a lot better than looking at yourself in the mirror and, doing what a lot of us do.
Yep, criticizing.
Yeah. And it's so true too, it's like it not just from childhood, but like you said, even just like generations behind,
Mhm.
being fat and overweight actually used to be like a thing of prestige because it meant that you
Mhm.
could afford food,
That
right?
part.
So like the fatter you were, the the better off you were because
Mhm.
everyone else is like skin and bones and starving, you know?
Mhm.
And it is crazy, it changed along the way, but also, yeah, it kind of how we were talking, it kind of becomes your identity.
It
And
does.
you just right, like the skinny mini one, and you can eat
Mm.
so much food and you don't gain any weight and da da da. It's like, well, I'm 12. I'm 12 and
Right.
I come from a tiny people, like
You know what? I'm so glad you said that because you're right. It starts in childhood. And so I have a very strict rule with my children and adults. Don't talk about my children's bodies. Don't talk about, because that's where it started for me.
yeah,
I was 11. I started my menstrual cycle at 11. My body developed. I had boobs, I had hips, and everybody, inappropriate ass grown men and even grown women felt at liberty to discuss my body, to make
comment on it.
comments, to
Yeah,
ask questions, and it made me extremely self-conscious. It made me feel like, oof, I need to hide, I need to cover up, I need to change. And my dieting started probably between the ages of 13 and 14
gee,
because of unsolicited advice, unsolicited comments. And so I'm very strict about that with my kids because we fuck up people's body images by engaging with them as children and
yeah,
making them see something. Because when they're little, they don't have that. All of that shit is taught.
yeah,
So I'm very strict about that. But you're 100% right. We hear these things and then we internalize them. I was the fitness girl. I was the girl always running. I'm really short, but I ran distance. And people knew me for being a runner. People knew me for eating salads and being super healthy and working out every day. And so when I broke up with diet culture, I lost a part of my identity. And there was a grieving there, right? Because
mhm,
I was no longer going to be that person. People would come to me and be like, oh, yeah, I know I need to work out. And, I would be like, well, let me help you. And now it's like, you don't have to be shamed. Like,
yeah,
I skipped many days working. I haven't worked out this week, as a matter of fact. There's no shame in that anymore. But it's a process, right? Because you're unraveling these layers of who you were and who people looked at you to be. And now it's like, okay, I'm not that girl anymore. That doesn't mean I'm not still fit and healthy and I enjoy exercise and I value movement and I love to nourish my body with good foods, but I'm not the one like pointing the finger anymore and telling you what you need to do and being super strict and rigid. Because
yeah,
really, if I'm being honest, I was participating in a lot of disordered behaviors to try to maintain an image.
yeah,
And it's very liberating to not be there anymore, but
yeah.
also a process. And there's grieving again with it. So,
I love that. And, too, just going back, to like being school age girls. And, I remember I couldn't just from seeing all of the actresses on TV, like I couldn't wait to get boobs. It was like,
right.
and I didn't get them till like 10th grade, and then one
Mm.
summer I got them and I came back to school, right? And then it was like, oh, who's that? Right? And they weren't ever like big or anything, but there were some
Just
boobs
enough.
there. Yeah. And
Right.
but it's like we want to and then you on the flip side of it, right? Going through
Mhm.
that so young and then having
Right.
people comment on it and then trying to hide it because you're thinking that it's something bad. Please like take that advice. Do not comment on your children's bodies. Like
Mm-mm.
the world will kind of already
It
show
will.
kids these things anyways, and they don't need to hear it from parents and family members and friends. It's like, it's enough, you know?
Right. It
And
is.
it's just that is so important. And I don't know, I'm so grateful for this conversation. I would love for you to share anything with our audience of like what you have coming up, where you're going to
Yeah.
be, where they can find you. Of course, we were also going to share all this stuff in the show notes, guys,
Yeah.
but just please, please, please let them know all of the things you have coming.
Yeah, thank you. So I live on Instagram. That's my happy place. So I'm at Healthy Fit, and fit is spelled PHIT. Same thing for my website, healthyfit.com. And I offer my services are virtual and in person. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you need physical therapy, if you have an injury or you need help recovering, if you sustained an injury and you have a history of eating disorders, I am the only therapist in Charlotte who actually works with people in that area or that niche, which is really important because when you're trying to recover physically from something and you have that sort of emotional thing going on with the eating disorder recovery, it's really important that you recover in a safe space.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be your provider for that, located in the South Park area. And again, that's virtual and in person if you're in North and South Carolina. And then for the coaching, I do one-on-one coaching. So I have different coaching packages, and I run a group every quarter where I have a small group, no more than 10 women or people, I should say, where we go through some of the process to breaking up with diet culture. So we talk about intuitive eating and joyful movement and, movement modifications and self-care and so many things. Body image is huge. So we talk through all of that in a small group setting. I'll be running another group in August. But for now, like I said, one-on-one coaching is an option. So
Yay, that is all so
yay.
amazing. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Well, Lisa, thank you so, so much. I don't know if there is one more thing you kind of want to leave with our audience, and then I'll let you get back to your day. I know we are busy mamas here, but I just want to say thank you. This was an amazing conversation, and I'm super excited for everybody to hear it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm just excited, to have had the conversation with you. I just love these opportunities to tell more people about this work. So, I guess I would just say, take those affirmations of my body is supposed to change, and I am more than a body, and really live them. Work them into your daily life. Write them down. Put them on your mirror. Say it as often as you need to. And if you want help with this process, because it's not easy,
Yeah.
I'm here and I answer DMs. So shoot me a message. Like if you just have a question, my goal is to help as many people break up with toxic diet culture as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So if you need help, I'm here.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We will catch you on the flip side, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.